Hey there, good afternoon. How's everybody doing? You know what? I was just going through this newspaper and I came across a lot of reports. For example, see, it's written here ex mayor's bail petition adjourned to Monday. Then we have 26 private hospitals fleeced government patients, says BBMP. So, if you just see, the newspapers, it's all about reports, isn't it? And it takes, quite a lot to write down reports. You can also see, I can also see few more. Center allows farmers into Delhi talks on December 3. Now, if you just see the content and the language which is given in such newspaper reports, or you all being ninth graders from writing in the examination, there are a lot of things to be discussed. So if you see, if you I'm just reading out this particular report which is here in today's newspaper. A local court adjourned to Monday the hearing of former mayor R Sampatraj's bail petition, who was arrested in connection with the East Bengaluru violence. The hearing was postponed in the absence of public prosecutor so and so. Now, if you notice a newspaper report or any report, for that matter, um, don't you think, the content is, supposed to be following a certain kind of format, and then only uh, we get to see such good reports, which is written in the newspapers, and really hats off to the reporters who write such wonderful reports. So, what does it take? What is the format of the report? And apart from that, today I also thought of discussing the format of an informal letter after we are done with the report. So, moving on once again, welcome to An Academy. Let us begin the show today. Moving on to the presentation. Yeah, so we are on India's best online learning platform, which is An Academy, and YouTube is also a platform through which we come up with very good sessions, very good topics. So today I thought of taking up the format of report writing as well as formal letter. Let's crack it then. Okay, so today's format of report writing and informal letter, this complete session is going to help you understand how to write a report and how to write an informal letter from the examination point of view. So stay tuned and just keep watching, keep interacting. Just a forward about me. I'm Paramita Chattaraj and I'm a qualified English educator. Done my post graduation in English literature along with my B.Ed, as well as I'm also a plus educator on An Academy past few months, and I've been awarded a certificate from British Council, and also I have also trained myself under different platforms, and it's been a long journey. It's been over 15 years that I am into teaching English to senior secondary grades. So, ready everyone? Let's go on with the topic. Let's crack it. Okay, now here in this particular session, the first thing that I'm going to cover is how do we write a report writing? Okay, and what are the format? What is the format? What are some of the elements that we should be keeping in mind in order to write an effective report? All right. So moving on, and you all can also see my referral code. So whenever you plan to join the plus class, you may please use my referral code, which is PC Live 10 or PC 29. I will be briefing you more about the major attractions of An Academy during the end of the session. So let's move ahead. If you see, the first slide here says the title section. This includes the name of the authors and the date of the report preparation. If you just notice a newspaper report also, You will always see a headline. See, this is a newspaper, and I'll just read it out. I just read out one report which had a title. So I will again read out one more report from the newspaper, and I will tell you how it is. See, today's newspaper says Cabinet approves border limits for new Vijayanagar district. So this is the headline. And then we have a sub-headline also. 6 taluks will be carved out from Ballari. So now when we have a look at a newspaper report, the headline is in bold. Yes, and then the subheadline is in it is a smaller font and a smaller letter, and then you can have it, and then we have the place and we have the date as well as okay. And apart from that, the person who's writing the report, sometimes the name of that person or the reporter is also there. So talking about the first thing which you should be including in the format is the title, which is very very important, because the catchy title is going to give you an idea, going to give the readers an idea about what kind of a report it is, about what you are writing. The title should say it all, followed by the date of the report, the current date on which you are writing. Now there comes the summary. There needs to be a summary of the major points, conclusions and recommendations, and it needs to be as short as it is a general overview of the report. Now, having said this, you are just summarizing it and you are giving an overview or just an idea about what is the report that you are writing. Now, here when we are talking about an overview or a summary, we mean that we have not written the entire report. We are just, doing the main points. This, and these main points are supposed to be very, very specific. Okay, it is usually the general tendency of the people not to read the entire report but just the summary. So that also should be helpful enough for the readers to understand what is the report all about. So while I'm writing the summary or while I'm writing the overview of that particular report, there are certain relevant points which should be included in that, and this summary also should be written at the end. If you just go through a newspaper report, again there will be a small paragraph which mentions the overview. Sometimes the subheading can also include the most relevant and most important point of the report which you want to highlight. Okay, so a summing up statement or a summary can be written after the entire report is done, and a small summing of the report will give an idea to the readers. Okay, fine, this report is all about this. The reader might not have read the entire report, so the summary statement should be able to help that reader understand that the report is all about this. Now, moving ahead, I will also be talking about the report format in detail, and each element and each format, each points will be discussed accordingly. Now, the first and the foremost thing about a report is definitely the introduction. Now, this is something which we follow while writing an article. And here, when I'm talking about an article and when I am taking a session on report, there are certain basic differences between an article and a report. And I often see that students, they get confused between a report and an article because there are certain similarities also. So while writing a report, you will have to be very careful that you are reporting and you are presenting something that you might have witnessed and something your question might be asking. So here, while I'm writing an article and a report, I'm definitely informing. I have facts. These are the two main similarities. But an article, when you are writing it, it is generalized and it is informing, but reporting is reporting per se. Okay. Now, when we are drafting the introduction, of a report, the first page of the report needs to have an introduction. Yes, definitely. You will explain the problem and show the reader why the report is being made. You need to give a definition of terms if you did not include this in the title section, and explain how the details of the report are arranged. Now, there is a theft which has happened in your closest neighborhood, and you, as a reporter, are writing a report. Or from the examination point of view, there is something which is mentioned. I'll be showing you a sample also in the end, so you can just have a very good, idea about what the report is all about, how to write it. So, again, coming back to the introduction, this is your topic. The report is supposed to be written, and the first and the foremost thing is what? That I am supposed to be introducing it. I am supposed to be defining what exactly the report is all about. What is the incident that I am reporting? All right. So, in the title section or in the first introductory thing, I am going to give you a catchy title followed by the introduction, wherein I am introducing and I am reporting and I am making the readers aware that this is what I am writing. Okay. Explain how the details of the report are arranged. So, writing something haphazardly is also not going to help. When I am writing the introduction, the first thing that I am supposed to be following is the title, which has to be very catchy and which should be very, very reflective of what the report is all about, followed by now I introduce my report. So, in that introduction, I have to arrange it very, very sequentially in a chronological order, that this is the place of the event, this is the date of the event, and what has happened, what actually has happened. Sometimes you might be writing a report of an event which has taken place in your school. Generally, the examination questions are of this kind of a nature. So you have had an annual function in the school, there was a chief guest, and this had happened. The theme of the annual function was this, and then you as a student, you are writing a report, maybe to be sent to the head office. So you will have to understand how would you be framing the entire introduction. And after we are done with the title and the detailed introduction, we are now supposed to be coming to the body, wherein more detailing, which is the main section. I just took the example of the annual function which has happened in your school, and you are writing a report on that. So when you come to the body, which is the main section of the report, each and every minute detail is supposed to be given by you. Now coming to the point, this is the main section of the report, and there needs to be several sections with each having a subtitle. Information is usually arranged in order of importance, with the most important information coming first. Yes. Now, this is something which is very, very necessary. Just now, I said that, for example, if there is an annual function in your school, you will just write right from the very beginning and not from what has happened later. You will have to be very careful about the chronological order, right from the arrangement, then the arrival of the chief guest, then the speech, then the lamp lighting ceremony, followed by the entire cultural program. So, what have I done? I have given you the idea of how to maintain the steps, how to maintain the chronological order in the second paragraph or the body of the report. That is what you are going to do. So it has to have a lot of sections. Definitely. Yes. And if you have, you are confident enough to give a subtitle, the lighting of the lamps or arrival of the chief guest, followed by lighting of the lamps, then speech by the principal and the chief guest, and followed by the cultural events. So each event is arranged sequentially, and I have maintained the chronological order, and I have also developed the body of the report, which is the main section and through which my reader is going to get an idea as to what is happening. Now, here I would also like to say that the information or the sequence which you are following while writing the report is also based on which event is important, and based on the relevance you will have to sequence it. This is how you are going to do it. Then comes now this particular section of the body, or the second paragraph, can also be divided into second and third paragraph followed by the conclusion. Here, from the examination point of view, you also have a word limit and the marks allotted. So before we proceed to the conclusion, this is where everything comes together. Keeping this section free of jargon, as most people will read the summary and conclusion. I have already told you in the beginning of the session that while you have written the entire report, in the summary statement, please make it very, very simple. Okay, so when you are giving the summary or the conclusion, please do not use jargons. Now, what do I mean by jargons? Do not use any complicated words. Okay, so when you are giving the conclusion as well as the summary statement, you have to keep it very simple, because there are times when people do not, there are times when people don't even read the entire report, they read the summary statement or maybe the introduction. So it has to be quite simple rather than the use of jargons. Conclusion: how was the day spent? When we have just taken up the example of the annual function which was spent in the school. So how was the day commemorated? How was the entire event? Was it a successful one? How did the chief guest respond to the entire event? These things can be given in the conclusion with the use of simple words and a summary statement. Now comes recommendations. Now this is what needs to be done, which is, explain your recommendations, putting them in order of priority. If you are writing a report, now this is usually done in newspaper reports, that there are certain recommendations which is given for the audience, that if such and such thing has happened, there are certain recommendations that this should have been done. But here again, please be careful of not including your personal opinion, because it's a report. Your personal opinion is not at all required. But here we can, in a report, we can also include comments of the people who were present during that event or maybe during that incident. There can be different questions which can be given to you from the examination point of view. So the suggestions or the recommendations and the comments of the people who were present over there can also be included. Now this is again appendices, which also includes the information that the expert in the field will read. It has all the technical details that support your conclusions. Sometimes it is recommended to you to give appendices, and sometimes, well, if you are writing it from the examination point of view, definitely you can do away with it. But if you are writing something formal, maybe in future in the newspaper, so this is a strongly recommended thing, that if you have certain information which is relevant to the report that you have written in that particular field, and if you are quite confident about that detail, some technical details can also be provided in your report in the conclusion. So when I am talking about the recommendations as well as the appendices, this is definitely applicable for writing a newspaper report. For example, if we see this particular newspaper report which I have been seeing since morning, I will just read out one more thing. Yeah. Yes. So here again, if we see 26 private hospitals fleeced government patients, etc. This is given by, this is a report, and in the end, I can see certain, websites or something. Some details, some technical details, phone numbers and websites can be given, to contact for further details. So in the end, this appendix is with reference to the website which you can refer to for further details. That is what I was talking about. So this give me a minute, please. Usually this kind of detail also, it supports your conclusion. It makes it a concrete one. For example, if I am a reader, if I have just read the summary statement or the conclusion of your entire report, and there is a technical detail that you may contact this phone number for further details, or you may just log in into this particular website, which is going to give you more details. I may use that. So this again, adds a lot of details and support to my conclusion. So once again, a recap of what we have done. We are supposed to be doing the title first and foremost thing while writing a report, a catchy title. The place and the date is supposed to be mentioned. We may have a subtitle if we wish to. Then moving ahead, the introduction of the report is going to brief me and define me about what the report is. All right. Moving on to the second and the third paragraph, it can have different sections as well. It can have more than 2 to 3 paragraphs, which is the body of a report. What are we going to do? We are going to provide more and more detail about that particular event. It can be a formal function or something like that. It can be an incident which the entire city should know, and you as a reporter, you are reporting about this has happened, maybe some incident at the hospital, or maybe a bomb blast, or whatever it is, or maybe some theft in an closest vicinity around you. So you provide a lot of details, and if you are using subtopics for the second paragraph, it always adds. Now we come to the conclusion. Everything has to be assembled together, and you will have to keep the conclusion or the summary section very, very simple. It is not advisable for you to use jargons or complicated words, because there are readers who read the summary of the entire report, and they should be immediately able to understand that okay, the report is all about this. Then comes the recommendations and the appendices. As I have already told you, if there are experts who were present probably in during that event, the comments and the suggestions and the recommendations of those experts can be included as a quote. Then comes the appendix. I always stress on this, that if you are writing if you are writing a conclusion and providing certain technical details in the form maybe of a website or a telephone number, then it is going to add to your conclusion. So this is what was the uh, format which should be followed while writing a report, either as a formal report for the newspaper or from the examination point of view. So we move ahead. Now this is a nutshell. This is, if you see this particular table, this is a nutshell. These are some of the linguistic elements that you are supposed to be. Now I have given you the format. Now when I am an English teacher, so I will always guide you how to maintain the linguistic elements of writing a report or an article or a speech or any write. Now the first and the foremost thing is using a formal language. Okay, now when you are writing a report, you are writing it either from the examination point of view, or you are writing it for the newspaper. So, the language that you are supposed to be maintaining is a formal language. You cannot be using a casual language, or you are not advised to use slangs also. So a very formal language. Now, while I'm talking about a formal language, I do not mean very complicated words or jargons. Formal language can also be very, very simple. If you have that capability to present your report in a very articulate way by the use of formal language, then definitely you can go ahead. But please be aware that you are not supposed to be using any casual language or any slangs. Use the correct format and structure. Now when I have just spoken to you about the format which you are supposed to be following, Now, when I am talking about the structure, what is a structure? Yeah, if somebody knows, you can just post it in the comment box. What is the structure of the entire report? The structure of the entire report is, is what the entire content structure is supposed to be. It is just not the sentence structure. The sentence structure will come in the end. I will also be talking about that. Now, when I talk about the structure, I mean that the format and the entire structure of the content, they are interrelated. So for example, when I am talking about the content structure, I am saying that I have written the introduction followed by the body, the conclusion, the recommendation, and the conclusion, and the summary or the appendix. This is what makes the entire structure or the skeleton of the um, report, which is very, very necessary. Now comes the third one. Keep to the facts. Everybody knows that reports are all based on facts. We all know this. All right. So, writing something which you have assumed or any personal opinion is a big no no when you are writing the reports, because through your report you are actually making the people aware, not just like when you write an article, but you are talking about an incident or an event which has already happened, and you are supposed to be presenting the facts. You cannot be writing something on your own which has not happened. So that basically defeats the purpose. Then it's not a report, then it is something which you have made up. So the facts are supposed to be followed to the T. Make sure your meaning is clear. Now, what does that mean? Can you please tell me what does that mean? What does it mean when you are asked to make your meaning of the report completely clear? It means that whatever you are writing, whatever you are expressing is supposed to be very, very clear and understandable to the reader for whom you have written the report. This is what I meant. So, how are you going to fulfill this? When I say that my meaning of the report has to be very, very clear, it has to have a clarity. I am supposed to be using such kind of a language which is understandable, which is quite, comprehensive. All right. So, as we all know that we are going to use formal language here, we should be very, very careful that, when we are using a formal language, we do not use certain complicated words which might not be understandable to the common man for whom you are writing the report. So, maintaining the formal language, I should use such a language which is going to be understandable, and the meaning which I want to convey, what I want to express through my report, should be completely clear. Okay, now comes the most important part. Use correct spelling, punctuation, and grammar. When my students they ask me, ma'am, how do we frame sentences? I always advise them to read articles and reports which are given in the newspapers, I am again going to read out something from the newspaper, and you will see how it is. There are like lot of articles and this thing. Okay. Okay. 19 degrees day temperature touches lowest in 4 years. So on Thursday, Mercury dipped to its lowest during daytime in 4 years, comma, even as Bengaloreans scurried for woolens and grabbed piping hot kappas. Full stop. The minimum temperature during the day was 19 degrees Celsius, while the maximum was 20.4, comma, Met officials said, full stop. If you notice the structure of this particular sentence which I have read out just now, it was punctuated and framed very correctly. The structure of the sentence was absolutely correct in terms of the punctuation, and the grammar and the language which has been used is purely formal. So, the best way to learn is to read newspaper reports. That's the best to familiarize yourself with different sentence structures and to see how the sentences are punctuated. So, using correct spelling, punctuation, and grammar, I think it is applicable for writing everything, even if you are writing an answer or an article or an essay or a long answer, anything. Anything. So, while we are writing a report, also, definitely we are going to apply correct spelling. We will be punctuating the sentences properly and will be using proper grammar. So, moving ahead. Now, these are some of the tips. Okay. How do we score high in report writing? The first point, if you see on your screen, is use names and pronouns. When you write about yourself and others at the scene, avoid outdated expressions like this officer and the above mentioned person or official one. Definitely, that particular person might be having a name. Of course. Now, the example which I had taken up was the report of the annual function which you had in your school. So, there has to be a name of the chief guest, your principal, and of course, the students will be generalized. Now, if you are talking about the council members of the school who have given the, say, guard of honor or whatever, every council member will have a name. Or if you are talking about an incident, maybe a theft or whatever has happened, that particular incident might have happened at some household. So the people living in that household will be having that name. The police officer who had attended that particular incident or the theft must be having a name. So those names are supposed to be used, and repetition of those names to be avoided. At that point of time, what are we supposed to be using? Pronouns. I, he, her, his, like that. Okay. Now, this officer and the above mentioned person sounds to be, very, very vague. These are like, they're redundant. These kind of phrases are not used nowadays. Now comes the second one. Limit yourself to one idea per sentence. This is very, very necessary. For example, there can be one major incident which has happened in that area, maybe a theft or maybe a robbery or maybe a murder. Now, there can be 3 to 4 correlated incidents which are associated with that particular major incident. While you are reporting that particular incident, please do not mix up everything. One incident to be reported at a time. Why? Why am I saying this? If you see the first sentence, short, straightforward sentences are easy to read, understand, and save time for everyone. You will appreciate this time saving tip when you are reviewing a report to prepare for an important business meeting or whatever. Yes, reports can be written in different ways. All right, just give me 1 minute to connect my tab. So once again, I just wanted to highlight the first sentence which says that you will have to limit yourself to one topic sentence at a time. Okay, so when I say this, 1 minute, just check for the pen. There it goes. Yeah, this one. Okay, so this short, straightforward sentences. Why this is very, very important? This is important as it gives a specific idea. Okay, gives a specific idea as to what you are writing. Okay, now and it is also easy to read, understand, and it saves a lot of time. Also, the longer a sentence, the more likely you are to make an error. Sometimes it is advisable for you to write shorter sentences to cast an impact also. Yes, some incident Short sentence with an exclamatory marks also creates a very good impact. If you are confident enough to frame a complex compound sentence, then you may go ahead. But here you will have to be very, very, careful about the punctuation. See, it says try to limit yourself to 3 commas per sentence. That means punctuation is essential. Punctuation. It is very, very, you will have to be very careful about punctuating a sentence, because in the previous slide also I told you that, those are the elements, those are the tips where you can improvise on your writing. Don't make the sentences very complicated, and when you are writing, when you are framing a sentence, frame them properly so that it is easy to understand, number one. Number two, it is easy for you to punctuate and you end up committing less errors. Yes, now this is supposed to be very, very important. Very important. Be very clear and specific. All right. Okay, and this also. Now, when I'm talking about clarity and to, being specific, see, contacted is wait, did you visit, phone or email the witness? For example, if you say, if I ask you, did you contact the witness? So contact means what? Isn't this sounding more specific? Residence is just as confusing. Okay, so these two sounds vague, wherein these two are specific. So these two are supposed to be used. Now, when I'm talking about somebody's house or apartment or home, I mean it. Residence can be anything. I mean, it is not giving me a clarity. All right. So when I've been asked, when I'm writing a report, that this particular victim was contacted how? If I say that particular victim was called, or an email was written, or the witness was called, the witness was visited by the police officer, that sounds more clear and more specific. So the bottom line is that you will have to be very, very specific while writing a report. This is, again, I have already said, since it is easier to understand than in or as much, these phrases supposed to be avoided and this is supposed to be used. Pertaining to is also a fancy and time wasting way to write about. So use simple words. Okay, use very, very simple words, and that would be better. Okay. Now, when it comes to again I have said stick to observable facts, means please do not assume, please do not guess, please do not spill any hunch which does not belong to the incident at all. This is a report that you are writing. I have just read out few reports from the newspaper also, wherein it is a fact. I just read out the report or the weather report about maybe few days in Bangalore. It was very, very cold and we had to take out sweaters, and that is the fact which has been given in the newspaper also, in the report also. So that's a fact that I'm using, or that's a fact that the reporter is using, that the mercury dipped. It was extremely cold. Okay, the past 4 years it was not that cold, so it was very cold. So that is the fact which has been used. Now, something which is provided in the report which is not belonging to that incident, or which is not a fact, is not going to suffice to what you have written. A statement like he was aggressive won't stand up in the court. Okay, but on the other hand, you can say that Jackson clenched his fists and kicked a chair, which is self-explanatory. This is self-explanatory, and it always emphasizes on the fact that Jackson has already expressed an aggressive behavior. Rather, writing he was aggressive, who's going to believe? Nobody is going to believe. So facts is supposed to be emphasized on. Write in paragraphs. Yes. Again, when you are writing in paragraphs, it is the first paragraph, then the second paragraph, followed by the third and the fourth. So we all know that the introduction is the first paragraph, followed by the second and the third, or maybe sometimes the fourth paragraph to add detail to your report. But from the examination point of view, please adhere to the word limit and divide it into maximum of 3 paragraphs, which will include your introduction, followed by the body, and the last paragraph, which is your conclusion. Okay, so which is again very easy, and it is understandable. Active voice is supposed to be used. A widespread mistaken notion is that passive voice guarantees objectivity. A revolver was seen under the nightstand. Seems to be a little vague. Was seen. It seems that you are guessing, or maybe there is no authenticity. But if you are a revolver, if you are a reporter, then you can say, I saw a revolver under the nightstand. So that expresses that this is an authentic statement. So use that. Okay. This is the format of a newspaper. We just went through newspaper report, which is the headline. I have already spoken about it. Then we have a byline. Then we have the place where it is happening, the date, then the introduction or the opening of the paragraph. Then comes the body or the description of the entire event in detail, and then comes the conclusion. If you see, the conclusion says this will include the action that has been taken so far, or that will be taken in the last paragraph. Yes, you can also write that in your conclusion, that this was decided to be done. So this is the format, and now we are just looking at the sample. MMD School Nashik recently organized a science symposium on the topic effect of pollution on quality of life. Write a report on the event for your school. This is what you are going to get in your CBSE exam. A symposium was organized on 1st March. You can see this is what is supposed to be followed, and then a symposium. This is the beginning introduction. This is the date which is given, and you see this is the place. Okay. Quality of life. All the science students were a part of the elucidative program. You can see very formal language has been used. The event started. Now comes this is the description of the event. This is the entire description. If you revisit this entire video, this is the description of the event. An exalting demonstration of the effects of pollution on our lives galvanized the engrossed participants. Very good vocabulary has been used. If you see demonstration, then we have galvanized, engrossed. These are some of the good vocabulary which has been used. It was followed by another session on the basic concept. So this is the last line, and this is what is this. Okay. An interactive concourse ignited the inquisitiveness of participants. They have committed. This is the conclusion. The informative workshop culminated with a vote of thanks proposed by the head of the science department. This is what you are supposed to be doing. This is the concluding line. Okay. Moving ahead, let us just check how well you all have understood the entire session. Now the questions will be posed, and you can post the correct answers in the comment box. Moving ahead with the first question, which should be the correct way of expressing your opinion in a formal report? Yes, please read. There are two options. I think this is the best idea to promote primary enrollment in a secondary school. I propose the idea of primary enrollment in a secondary school. The first one, if you see, is expressing your opinion, which is not supposed to be done, whereas it is strongly recommended for you to just go with option B, wherein you are just proposing. So in a formal report, you are supposed to be proposing the idea and not giving your own opinion. The report present conclusions based on what do we do? Please post the correct answer. Post the correct answer in the comment box. Yes. While, yeah, reports present conclusions based on which option? Option A, B, C, D, whatever. Investigation, intuition, belief, impression, whatever is the correct answer. You may post it in the comment box. Which of these is not a formal report? Formal report. It's in first option is informational, then informal, interpretative, and routine. It is a very, very obvious thing that this is not a formal report. All right. Informal, yeah. Moving ahead. Which of these reports provide information without any evaluation? Information without any evaluation. Yes, there are four options: information, interpretative, routine, and progress. Information without any evaluation. Any evaluation. Think about the question and then write the correct answer. Yes, what is the correct option? Please post it. Read it and then post it. I'll be discussing it later. Which of these is not mentioned in the progress report? Again, name of the project, right choice of instruments, nature of work, amount of work left. What is not mentioned? What is not mentioned? Which of these is in a progress? In a progress report. Whatever is the correct answer, please post it in the comment box. Yes. A written report is more formal than an oral report. The answer is quite obvious. A written report is more formal. Yes. Definitely, because the use of language, the formal language makes it more formal. When you speak, you tend to change your language very frequently. So a written report is more formal than a, yeah. Okay. So I hope the elements and the format of report writing was quite helpful to you. So we now move on to the second topic, which is informal letter, which is also a part of CBSE class 9 curriculum. So what are the things that we should be taking into consideration while writing a report? Now, the following points need to be followed while writing an informal letter. An informal letter does not strictly follow the prescribed format. The language of an informal letter must be friendly and casual. An informal letter can have extra information. The subject line is not required in an informal letter. Now, we will be doing it very, gradually, step by step. We'll be discussing it. So if you see the first bullet says an informal letter does not strictly follow the prescribed format. Now when we say a strictly followed format, we are actually talking about the format of a formal letter which we are supposed to be following very, very strictly. Yeah. So when we are talking about this, an informal letter does not strictly follow the prescribed format. Prescribed format is always applicable in a formal letter wherein we are supposed to be mentioning there are certain things also which we are supposed to be following in an informal letter. Okay. All right. So when we are talking about that, when we are writing about an informal letter, it is the receiver's address and the sender's address. Now there is a subject line which we mention in the formal letter, but in the informal letter, we don't need to write any such subject line. We do maintain casual, if not casual, we maintain an informal language, but not very casual or very slang language is recommended for you to use while writing an informal letter. Okay. Now, to differentiate between a formal and an informal letter, here if you see the third bullet, is it says it can have extra information, whereas while we write a formal letter, it is very much recommended that we are supposed to be very specific. But in the informal letter, we may have certain extra information which we can provide to that particular person to whom we are writing. The subject line is not required in an informal letter. That is what I said. We do mention the subject while we are writing a formal letter because that is what is self-explanatory. But in the informal letter, we never. If you are writing a letter to your brother or your sister, your friend, your cousin, your uncle, your aunt, you don't mention the subject line. It is not expected for you to write a subject line in an informal letter. Okay. All right. So this is the format. Address. The address of the sender is followed by that of the receiver. Then we have the date. Then we have the salutation. Yes, hi or hello or dear aunt or respected Dadaji or whatever it is. If she is an elder fellow, then you will have to write it accordingly. Okay, so this is how. Now comes the body, which is divided into three paragraphs. That's the introduction, then the main content and the conclusion, and your name and your signature. So when you are writing it, it is a strong recommendation. Please write something which is relevant. Please do not end up writing which is unnecessary. It's not recommended at all. Okay, and please use very good language. Though informal, it does not mean that you are going to write it like that. Okay. So after the conclusion, we write our name and signature, and there we end it. Okay. Sender's address, date, receiver's address. Yeah, this is what we are doing. Okay. Okay. Now you see, this is the format which I have used over here. 129 Navayug apartment. This is the sender's address. And dear Rudra, it's been a while since I have heard from you. You see, it's like written in a very informal way. Where have you been? I hope this letter finds you in the best of health and everything. As summers are approaching, I was thinking if we could spend the summer break together at my place in Mumbai. So this is again a discussion through the informal letter for spending the entire summer vacation together. So through the letter, it has been suggested. So one friend is writing the letter to another one, and it is very well drafted. You all can go through this. Okay, so I hope this session was quite fruitful for you. You can go through the entire session and you can again check out what were the things which were discussed by me in terms of report writing and informal letter. All right. If you have any queries, then you may please ask me. I will just give you certain briefings about the platform, which is Unacademy. We had a wonderful session. We discussed the formats of report and informal letter, and this is what we targeted today. Please watch the entire session and share it among your friends. And yes, now these are some of the plans which is happening on Unacademy. We have monthly and bi-monthly, yearly subscription. So if you are taking a monthly subscription or any subscription, please use my referral code. And this is the best platform for you to ace your CBSC exams. If you use PC Live 10 or PC 29, you get a 10% discount. Okay. Now, when we are talking about the plus or the iconic subscription talks about a personal mentor who can connect to you, to your parents, and will provide a very good teaching learning plan, and that is what is very, very beneficial. And we strongly recommend everybody to join this platform and take up the plan. These are some of the facilities. You can learn live from the comfort of your home. We have weekly quizzes, we have live classes, doubt solving, providing the notes, question answer series, etc. All right. Okay. So this is what is Unacademy all about. I am also a batch educator. This is what is the Creative Corner all about. We have a lot of extracurricular activities happening. Now, about the batch courses, I am also a batch educator. I am teaching English. I am associated with the Brahmastra and the revision batch for 9th and 10th. And there are a lot of PYQ, NCRT, different batches. So please stay tuned to the channel and join the Unacademy platform by using my code. I hope you had a wonderful session and I will get back to you once again. So till then, take care.